You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Facebook, we are YBM Chat Podcast. Instagram at YBM Chat. You can listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts at YBM Chat.
Just do right for their health. Like, she just wanted to not feel like crap
Mm-hmm.
after consuming everything she did. And everybody's like, I can't believe she's doing this. What is she doing for the community? And she was out here, you know, representing for the big girls. And Lizzo was like, okay, never said I was losing weight. I just don't want to feel like crap anymore. And if y'all want to push forward that movement, then that's on y'all. Like, I'm not telling you not to be happy in your skin and do what you want to do for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why y'all are thinking that. And like I said, I'm just so tired of people feeling entitled, because I feel like a lot of people made her be that person, like made her the spokeswoman for big girls. And now because she did a 10-day diet, it's like, oh my God, she's changing. Like they did for Monique.
I was about to say that.
Like, if people are not feeling good and if their health is causing them literally a lot of damage and cause them to die, I'm not gonna be sitting here like, well, I liked you big, so you should have stayed big.
They did the same thing to what's her name? Tanisha, I think.
Anisha Thomas.
Oh, from Bad Girl Sub?
Yeah. They did the same thing to her when she lost all that weight, and it was like, you're supposed to be the one that's big for the big girls. Like, why'd you lose all this weight? But I was listening to the Ricky Smiley morning show a few days ago, and Gary with the T, of course, you know how messy he is.
Okay.
He came at it from a different approach. And I guess he was saying that people always say, okay, well, yeah, I'm big and I'm beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And I think he kind of thought it was like a lie. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't put on a front and pretend like you're happy if you're not. You know what I'm saying? I honestly can see both sides. Of course, I would never be upset ever for anybody wanting to change how they look or how they, you know, how healthy they want to be. I mean, it is what it is. But like I said, I can see what he's talking about too. Like, you sitting there and, you know, you saying, of course, be happy in the skin you're in, and then you're gonna, it sounds so bad for saying it, but you're gonna get small. You know what I'm saying? I know it sounds ridiculous, but I mean, it kind of is what it is. People got on the Dell for the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, you were supposed to be big and beautiful, and now you come out super small. Like, what happened to that? You were just putting on the front for everybody, knowing you weren't truly happy. So that was like a big debate on his show a few days ago. Well, the Ricky Smiley morning show.
But that's the thing. She wasn't doing it to get small. It's like with us,
A
if we
legit
done went,
detox.
yeah, like we done went on a binge and just decided ain't nobody working right now. We got like 3 to 4 days just to chill, and we done drank. Do you know how much calories that is you take in from drinking? And then you got to try
Mm-hmm.
to reset and get ready to go back to your daily routine. Like,
That's hard.
I'm gonna say, I'm not y'all, so I don't do the workouts. So for y'all, it's like y'all in workout for like 3 to 4 days. You've been drinking, consuming a bunch of food from happy hour, and now you have to get back to your routine so you don't feel like trash. That's legit all she was doing. And they just took it as, oh my God, she wants to be small. No, I just don't want to be dry heaving in my room for no reason for hours at a time. That's really all that is. But you know, people that just feel like they got a right to everything, as if they're the ones paying for her to have the flat tummy tea or whatever it was that she may have consumed.
Right.
My thing is, they talk about her regardless if she's doing it or if she's so big, because it's like they talk about her for like she be twerking or like when she be on there barely wearing clothes for being a big girl. So they already talk trash about her regardless. So it's like, where do you win at? Not even just her, but at like more
in general.
Exactly, more plus size celebrities. They talk dog trash about Monique back then. Like, so it's like you can't win to lose, you know. So yeah, it's just society always like has it really fucked up when it comes to like people who wants to actually like better themselves or whatever. And by the end, Adele looks fucking amazing. I never thought she looked.
She really does.
Like,
now, me personally, I won't lie, I was, taken aback by her last one. But I'm like, okay, that's what she wants to do. Then hey, I mean, she ain't losing no sleep over me at the end of the day, and I ain't losing no sleep about her losing weight. So if she's happy, and my thing is, she happy and her little girl fine, then what am I supposed to say about it?
And that's what I'm saying. Be happy for them. You know what I'm saying? Be happy that they're healthy and comfortable. No matter if they're a size 20 or a size 2. You know what I'm saying? Like, just be happy. And like Trey said, people always have something to talk about regardless. So
yes,
just live your life. People always going to talk.
The fact that they talking makes you even more relevant. So. So yeah, so with that being said, kind of going into our topic for the day, which will be kind of highlighting health and wellness. So I'm so happy to have one of my close friends, Will, here. He is everything under the sun when it comes to health, wellness, bettering yourself physically. He's a health advocate, and I just want Will to kind of like, just brand yourself, talk about yourself, give a brief description about yourself, and like tell how much we're so close.
Okay, so first, I just want to thank you all for thinking of me, especially for this topic. I've been following you guys for a little while now, but knowing you all personally, it's exciting to see you guys in your element, your platform. I'm excited to have a seat at the Zoom table tonight, but so just a little bit about me. So my background was not health and wellness. When I began working on myself 5 years ago, I was actually a professional candy maker. And a lot of people have no idea that about me because maybe they didn't know me in 2015, 2016, but I made candy professionally. I managed an entire store. I did everything top to bottom, like hiring, firing, scheduling, candy making, training, all of that. So that's my background is confection. So due to the lifestyle of the job and then just the location, my lifestyle just was very unhealthy. So I worked on the market in Charleston, and it was just like, we're going to Bubba Gumps. We're going to T-Bones. We're going to, we're going to where else was down there at the time? We're going to Tabooly. We're going. These were places where I was eating, and I was never meal prepping. I was never preparing anything really. It was just like me preparing enough just to get to work on time, and that was pretty much it. So I gained a lot of weight in that 2.5 years that I was working, but in the process, I definitely found collectively I gained like 30 pounds. I gained 30 pounds. And so I was just in this space where I was just like, well, I haven't been the most in shape, but I hadn't been this out of control. I think everybody can relate to just a period in your own personal journey where you were just like, I really need to get myself together, because like this is just not me. And it's more than just being comfortable. It's just like doing the little things, like doing the little things. Like if I'm just going up some stairs, or if I'm, not even really working out, but just like getting winded and like not having energy, not feeling good. I just wanted to feel better. So I started working on myself. I actually am like an ambassador with a nutrition company. So that was kind of the spark that really got me going. There was just a little bit of structure, and I feel like that's all I needed. I needed structure, and I needed a little bit of guidance. But I had the drive. Like I knew I wanted to make a change. So in the first month, I lost 11 pounds, and I was really excited about that because I was like, okay, well, if I can do this 3 months, consecutively, then maybe I can like get to my goal, right? Get to my goal. Well, that didn't happen in the first 90 days, but in 5.5 months, I was able to lose the weight that I set out to lose, which was 30 pounds. And I also dropped 4 pant sizes in the process.
Wow.
So
Congratulations.
That was a big deal. So going from like 38, 40 to going to like 31, 32 was a big deal. That's a whole, that's like a lot of different stages. But in about 6 months, like I was there and I was really happy. So at that point, you get questions whenever you're up to something that's positive, and you're changing and people are seeing you change. You always get questions. People want to know, what are you doing? Is it simple enough or easy enough for them to do? And really, that's how I would say my career as a health coach began. It was more than just like giving advice. It was really just helping people set up plans and helping them stay accountable. So I just started with only two clients. And I tell this story a lot. So one of my clients actually wanted to gain weight. So I'm excited, Trey, that you had that question about gaining weight. And then another one of my clients wanted to Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So one of my clients wanted to gain weight, and another one of my clients wanted to lose weight. Completely opposite. So you have to approach those things differently. So my client that wanted to gain weight, he gained about 5 pounds of lean muscle, and really wanted to gain confidence inside of a gym space. And so I helped him to do that. And my second client came to me at 400 pounds. And I don't say that lightly. It's not easy. It's actually quite hard to reach out to someone for help when you're in that space. And it really is a space of desperation. Like you really are desperate to find a way to get healthy. So we began working together specifically to lose weight. And 18 months later, so that's 1.5 years of really, really hard work, he was down over 200 pounds. So to put things into perspective, those who weigh more tend to lose weight more quickly if there's consistency. And for those who are looking to gain weight, it really kind of falls into the ballpark of nutrition. It's like you have to eat more if you want to gain more, but you have to do it consistently. So I helped those guys do that. And I really think that when I helped my client lose over 200 pounds, that opened up a lot of doors and a lot of opportunities that I didn't even know they existed. And so the momentum just started to speed up really quickly because everybody was like, who helped you? Like, how did you do this? And then he would just say, this is my coach Will. This is my coach Will. And before I knew it, I had more clients than I felt like at the time I was prepared for, but I just made it work. Fast forward to 2020 now. On average, I work with about 20 to 30 people, like ongoing from month to month. I have an online wellness group due to all things COVID. There's just over 67 members in the group. So it is a positive. It does give me the opportunity to speak to everyone all at one time. So I'm grateful for social media to be able to like create spaces where we can still work on getting healthy and sustaining results, and doing that from week to week, especially because we can't connect like we used to at group workouts or outdoor workouts or one-on-one training sessions, what have you. So it's been a blessing. And I'm happy to report that I have like maintained my weight and my overall physique. I've actually gained some lean muscle, which has been fun. And I'm just really happy. I'm really happy to have stayed consistent enough to have a small platform to help other people. So I hope that is a good bio for everybody.
That's amazing.
I had a quick question. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh,
before we start with like the main questions, did you ever have a point in time where you wanted to give up or you feel like you felt defeated? And if so, how did you get through that? Or what did you do to get over that?
Yes. So I will keep it transparent. I have nothing to hide. There's been multiple times in the last 5 years where I have felt like I wanted to give up. Not so much on my personal journey, but in the business of helping other people, because it can be very taxing. It could be very draining. And every day is not a bright, sunshiny day where you hear the birds chirping, right? But you still have to get up and you still have to show up for yourself first, and hold enough space to show up for other people in the capacity that you committed to. So being able to show up for other people, even sometimes when they don't show up for themselves, is taxing. So there's been 2 or 3 times in the last 5 years where I'm just like, I'm really great at this, but is this something that I want to continue? And so I would say, how did I get through that? I just had a moment where I remembered who I was, and I just remember what I stand for and really what I'm working to build. And I just said, well, if you don't do it, then it won't be done. So
I love it.
It's one of those things. If you want to build any sort of legacy or any sort of empire that is yours, it doesn't matter how big or small it is. If you want to build something great, it starts with you. And if it's your vision, you can't expect someone else to carry that out. Like, you have to be the leader in your vision for whatever it is you want. So I just had to say, you got to remember who you are, and you just have to remember that little bit of greatness that you have, and you just have to keep going.
Well, I'm so happy to have Will join us, because the reason why I want to do this episode in particular around this time is because as we're wrapping up the treacherous year of 2020, definitely want to highlight a lot of things that could, kind of help everyone with their health and, try to help kind of push their New Year's resolutions to being more fit and everything like that. So with that being said, I want to ask a couple of questions besides what Cassondra already asked. So this one actually came from Dashia. So why can diet fads be dangerous or not useful?
Well, that is an excellent question. And I kind of alluded to this a little earlier. So why can they be dangerous? So I think that they can be dangerous because a lot of fad diets can be very restrictive when it comes to what you're eating, and then overall when it comes to just your caloric intake. So when I think about danger or danger zones, I typically think about like people who are seeking a fad diet, and they're eating a significant amount less. Like if someone is eating under 1,000 calories a day, like that is dangerous. Or if somebody is only eating maybe 1,000 to 1,200 calories a day, but prior to the diet, they were eating 2,200 calories a day, that's dangerous to to shock your body in that way. So to answer the question on the side of danger, like that's why those things are dangerous, because it's like literally you're taking your body through a completely different space that it hasn't been. And so all of a sudden it doesn't quite know how to like function or how to show up for like what is or what isn't happening as far as like what you're eating, right? And then another thing is, with a fad diet, there's typically a focus or an emphasis on like one group of foods, or a certain color of foods. And none of those things really align with balance most of the time. Most fad diets do not have balance, and you have to be trying to commit. If you're going to commit to new daily practices, you want to make sure that those practices are going to support balance, like healthy digestive balances, healthy meal serving balance, like creating balances with what's on your plate, not just like, oh, I'm on this green diet, so I'm eating broccoli and I'm eating kiwi and I'm eating lettuce and I'm eating Granny Smith apples, right? Like that's not healthy. Even though those food items are healthy, just to restrict a diet to just a certain group of foods based off of color is not healthy. And that can also be it could be dangerous in some cases, depending on people's health and where they're starting. So that I'm not a fan of fad diets, and I do believe that there is a difference between a fad diet and a detox. I know in some cases they overlap, but to go back to the topic at the beginning of the conversation, like I do believe that detoxes can be healthy if people know specifically why they are doing them. But if you're just aimlessly detoxing, or trying to detox as a way of a lifestyle, that is not healthy. So I hope that answers that first question.
Yeah, it does. I actually have a follow-up question, because you mentioned a lot about caloric intake. So I kind of want to know, and this is a personal question coming from me personally, like how much of an impact does caloric intake have to do with like your energy and wanting to like work out and exercise and stuff like that? Like I don't want to,
Okay, so this is great. So if you take anything from this conversation, food is fuel. So when we eat, food is designed or not designed to give us energy or to kind of take away energy. And so it's important that the foods that we put on our plates, the food that we put into our body, is actually like restoring our insides and really giving us energy. And that's the difference between when some people say foods that are healthy versus foods that are not healthy. So typically foods that are not healthy are not going to help sustain energy. And you'll find that you're full maybe for a brief period of time, but then you're hungry again, right? Because like, it's just not sustaining your energy. It's not sustaining your hunger. And typically foods that are unhealthy, as much as we love them, they don't keep us full for a long period of time. And then when you think about caloric intakes, it's important to understand like how many calories it takes just to keep you breaking even every day, like with your energy, right? And then of course, to answer the question about weight gain, if you are focused on gaining weight, then you have to be in a caloric surplus. And if you know what the word surplus means, it just means like you need an abundance of calories, right? And if you're in a space where you're focusing on weight loss, then you need to be in a caloric deficit. Now the deficit can be tricky because sometimes it's too extreme. But if you're just starting and you're looking at your macronutrients, you're looking at your calories, then you want to make sure anywhere between about 300 to 500 calorie deficit. That's the healthiest range that I've seen in myself and in the people that I've worked with. But if you are creating a deficit that is greater than that, then that is risky, because then your body won't be able to perform optimally, and you'll really start to just be tired because you're not eating enough. So I hope that answers your question on calories, and also weight gain at the same time.
It did, yeah. Not kill two birds in one stone. So my next question is, before we move to Cassandra's other question that we talked about earlier, is what's the difference between good starch and bad starch? You kind of touched on it a little bit earlier.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Yeah. Okay. So this is really cool. So this is something that we highlight inside of my my private wellness group, and I just have like a little graphic that I share with them, and I'll send that to you guys if you want to see that. But it's really cool. Like, so I love when you say starch, because I was just like, I think about my mom being like, that's too much starch. That's too much starch on the plate. So, another word for starches are carbohydrates, and a lot of people are pro carbs or they are just against carbs. And that could be a whole nother call, but we'll just get into good carbohydrates and bad carbohydrates. So what does that even mean? So basically, if you've got a good carb, again, it's going to aid in slower digestion. It's going to prolong energy, which is what we were just talking about. And it's going to keep you full for a longer amount of time. And ultimately, that's what you want food to do. Like, you don't want to be eating and be like, why am I not full? Right? Because if you find that you keep doing that, then you're gonna pack on weight. And that leads me right to bad carbs. So bad carbs are like lower in fiber. They are typically foods or items that are processed. And if you've been in a grocery store, like, what processed food looks like. Processed foods can be found sometimes in like chilled areas along the perimeter. But if you also look at the perimeter of other stores, you'll notice that that's where they keep the fresh fruits and the fresh veggies and things like that. So you just have to choose wisely. And then your hunger is going to come faster from bad carbs, like potato chips or French fries or candy. And then what happens is like when you have an excess of bad carbs, over time they convert to fat. And a lot of people don't understand that. So it's not all carbs don't like convert necessarily directly to like fat storages, but when you think about things digesting too quickly, when that happens, it's like the glucose from the carb is just going to roll right into like fat storage mode or whatever that looks like. And that's just super, super broke down. Like, I hope that's not in depth too much, but like on the good carb side, like, it's things we like: fresh fruits, fresh veggies, sweet potatoes, most nuts like walnuts, almonds, beans, whole grains, oats, things like that. Things that we all enjoy, but when you just look at them, like, they just all kind of look bland, right? Until you like maybe prepare it a certain way. And then the bad carbs are like all the good things that you can just look at initially and they're just good, right? So like bread, and then sugar, brown and white sugar alike. One is not better than the other. Fruit juices, which are great, but again, sometimes have an excessive amount of sugar, and are always higher in carb, whether they're from concentrate or fresh squeeze. So again, you have to just pick your battles, right? But candy, cookies, chips, cereal, soda, pastries, ice cream, French fries. So all the things that we like really enjoy can tend to fall on the side of like a bad carb. And other keywords, if you're ever like doing your own research, you want to make sure that you're eating complex carbohydrates. So the complex carbohydrate is going to be on the side of good, and then refined carbs are going to be on the side of like a bad carb. So if it's refined, It's gonna more than likely be processed or sugary, like very high in sugar. And again, over time, because you're eating bad carbs and they're just digesting really quickly, you'll find that like you're not getting full even though you're eating more. Like like potato chips, for example. Like, oh no, that bag of potato chips just, it's all gone, right? Like we ate the whole bag of chips. And that's just because like it's not a complex carbohydrate. So as you're eating it, it's not keeping you full at all. It's typically very low in fiber, and fiber is a whole nother topic. But that's the game on carbs. There are a such thing as bad carbs, but carbs are not bad, if that makes sense.
Right.
So carbs are not bad at all, which is why I'm not an advocate for the keto diet or the keto lifestyle. I know that some people use it as a lifestyle. Some people use it as a diet. I have seen some people get tremendous results using the diet, but to me, I think it's best served if you create a window of time that you're going to be working that diet. And then when it's done, it's done. And then you have to like work to reverse diet in a healthy way to like just learn how to like, ride the bike again, right? Because like if you're doing a diet that is kind of upside down, in my opinion, the keto diet, it's really not setting your body up for balance, because again, you're just focusing on consuming a lot of foods from one group, so you're eating higher fats, and you're eating very, very few and sometimes little to no carbohydrates. And carbohydrates are absolutely necessary for energy. Like they are designed to give us energy. So there's all that. There's your carb talk. If you want more info on carbs, like I said, I have a little picture that I can share with you guys after the call. But carbs are good. Carbs are good. There are bad carbs, but carbs are not bad for you. So yeah.
Okay, Maggie, you had a question.
Yeah, for me, like I said, I want to gain, and me and breakfast don't get along because I'm not a breakfast person. But if I had to consume something for breakfast, would smoothies be a bad thing? Just to like get me through the morning?
Well, smoothies wouldn't be a bad thing. You just have to think about, okay, so what is in my smoothie? Just because it's blended doesn't mean that in some way, shape, or form, like it's good for you or bad for you. You just have to think, okay, like, what am I lacking? What do I need? And can I condense it in this smoothie, right? So fruit-based smoothies are fine. I typically always recommend that you find a protein source to integrate into whatever smoothie you're doing. Like, in my opinion, it's not enough just to have fruit and ice or almond milk and blend. Greens are great, but again, you want to make sure that your smoothie is really serving you. So it needs to be high protein, because again, if it's high protein, if it has a great amount of fiber in it, those two things are going to keep you fuller for a longer amount of time. So even if you're like not a fan of breakfast, it really is one of the most important meals of the day. And I say that because every meal of the day is important. Honestly, there's some people who only eat breakfast and then they don't eat for the rest of the day, right? So you have to think each and every meal that we have is valuable. So if you're not eating breakfast, then it's kind of like, well, where do you pick up those calories, or where do you pick up that nutrition that you skipped out on in the morning? So that's why I'm always a big proponent of making sure that anyone I'm working with understands the importance of breakfast, and is trying to at least make a commitment to having a solid breakfast, because it's like a spiral. Like if you at least start with a good meal, then you're more likely to follow that with a good snack. You know what I mean? And then you're more than likely saying like, okay, well, I had a great breakfast, a great snack. I want my next meal to measure up. I don't want to just veer right and then just go grab takeout or go have something bad. So it's just it's healthy for your body, but then it's also good for just establishing a healthy relationship with food and just a healthy routine overall, with having one good thing after another good thing after another good thing, so that you really can build that muscle, because it really is a discipline. Eating healthy is a discipline.
Mm-hmm. That is.
That's the struggle for me.
I know. Cassondra, your question.
Again, real fast, I have a side question. So you mentioned, of course, the keto diet earlier, and then you said food is fuel. How come people think, or what makes intermittent fasting healthy or safe? Or is it healthy and safe? Or when people go, I think it's, if I'm wrong, please correct me, 16 hours without eating. You pick whatever 16 hours you want to, and you eat whatever meals you want, and then you just don't eat, but then you eat a lot in that time period. Is that okay? Do you think that equals in a days, or should it be spread out throughout the day?
I have done this before. It is not a lifestyle like intermittent fasting. I think that it's done specifically for whatever result that someone may have. What is a benefit to intermittent fasting is really just the boost in your metabolism, and your body just shows up differently. Like when your metabolism is moving, you're setting yourself up to burn more calories, burn more fat, right? And that is why metabolism is such a big thing. And you see, we live in a time where there's so many different supplements or products that claim to, boost metabolism or stimulate metabolism, because it's very important. Like if your metabolism is slower, then the likelihood that you are going to have trouble losing weight will be higher, right? So those people who have higher metabolisms tend to be leaner, because their body is just always at work. So the practice of intermittent fasting really just helps to jumpstart or boost that. So in the past, the 16-8 window, I believe, is the best window. The trick is to factor in a full night's sleep into your fast. So if you are getting 8 hours of sleep, then that's already half of your 16, and then you choose, okay, for what other 8 hours am I going to fast, right? So in the past, if I go to bed at 10 and then I wake up at 6 or 7, that's about 8 hours. And then the next 8 hours, so 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, maybe 2. So maybe, some people typically will like have their 8 hour window might be from 12 to 8 p.m. right? So the average person I've seen, they will break their fast at about noon or 1, and they will eat until about 8 or 9. And then after that, that's when the fast begins, right? So the fast will begin after 8 o'clock, or it'll begin after 9. And then they'll just repeat that. And some people do it like, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. Some people do it like a week consecutively, and then they take a week off. So you really do get to decide when you do it, or how frequently you do it. But I think that it definitely, the results don't lie. Like people who are honest with it, like, and they're, you know, holding integrity to the hours that they say they're going to eat and then the hours that they're going to fast, they do see results. But then on the other side of that coin is just saying, okay, so now that I'm eating for these 8 hours, how frequently am I eating and what am I eating? So that's harder than just the time. The time isn't hard. It's really just saying, now I have to eat smart because I'm giving myself less hours to eat. So it requires planning. So if you're intermittent fasting, you can't just wing it, because you have to know exactly what you're eating and when. And that gets hard, and sometimes it gets a little complicated, and it does discourage people from trying it, because you really do have to be calculated with exactly what you're eating, and really keeping your macronutrients in order, making sure that you know exactly how much you need to eat and when. So that's just like a deeper level. I typically don't recommend it for people who are just beginning. I feel like after you've been working maybe for 3 to 6 months on your journey, if you want to try it at that point, after creating you know, a discipline and mastering that discipline, then I think it would work better. But for a brand new person, I typically don't recommend it, because it's just like, it gets really complicated really quickly. And like I said, if it's not simple enough to begin and to create a good habit, most of the time people will just get discouraged early, and then they won't continue. So yeah.
Okay.
So I hope that answers you.
No, that was perfect. Thank you. And so this next question came from my friend Dominique, and like I said, she, you know, is, sorry, I'm pulling up the questions. So I know we talked about this before we started, and the question was a little longer, so we kind of broke it up. Can you work out on an empty stomach? If so, what calories are being burned, and is that healthy?
Okay, so can you work out on an empty stomach? Yes. Typically people, if they're not eating before a workout, they are consuming a beverage before a workout. And sometimes that is for energy specifically. Like some people may use a pre-workout. Some people may use like just a cup of black coffee, just something to like jumpstart their energy, and really to help them to kind of push through the workout. But some people just go in with just a bottle of water, and that's fine too. So yes, you can work out on an empty stomach, but I recommend making sure that you know exactly what workout you're doing, right? So fasted cardio is an excellent workout that can be done, you know, on an empty stomach. Like I don't ever recommend like training or lifting too heavy, or maybe doing like a workout that's too intense on an empty stomach, because again, you want to make sure that your energy is sustained throughout your workout. But for the sake of cardio workout, fasted cardio is really great. And that just looks like being on an elliptical, or maybe a treadmill. If you're on an elliptical, you really just get to control your pace on that. If you're on the stairs, that's also an excellent way to do some fasted cardio, like knocking out 100 flights of stairs. You get to control like the speed at which you're stepping. And then lastly, going back to the treadmill, raising the treadmill. So making sure that you're maxing out that incline, and then you're making sure that you're walking at a slower tempo, like 2.3 to 2.5 miles per hour for about 20 to 30 minutes. You can still burn a significant amount of calories. You're not exerting extra energy, like if you were to run at like 9 miles per hour. So you're exerting less energy, but you're still burning the same or sometimes more calories. And that's also going to lean more towards like fat loss as well. And to answer the question specifically about which calories, so the calories are just calories. So the thing about a calorie is it's a measurement of energy, if you want to look at the definition of what that is. So it's not just like morning calories, midday calories, nighttime calories. You know, it's like they're all the same. So as long as you're engaging in physical activity, then you're going to be burning calories of some sort.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
So it is crucial. It is absolutely crucial to make sure that you eat after a workout.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, especially like 30, 30, I would say maybe 20 to 35 minutes after a workout, you need to have something in your system. Because if you're lifting weights or if you're doing high intensity interval training, you have to fuel your body. You've just exerted, you've put out all of, these calories, right? So you've put out this energy, you've burned these calories, you have to replenish, right? You have to replenish. So that's the fun part where we get to eat. We get to choose healthy things to eat. And it's important for like lean muscle growth as well as just muscle recovery. Like, how do your muscles even recover, right? Like, you have to have good nutrition. They don't just recover on their own. And so sometimes people who don't eat after their workouts will notice that they're having slower recovery times or poor recovery because they're not nourishing their bodies properly and effectively after the workout. So again, if you take anything from this, you have to eat after a workout. And it's not like, oh, I burned 800 calories, so I guess I'm going to go eat 600 calories worth of nachos. No, it might look like maybe a post-workout smoothie, right? Or maybe a large salad with double protein, but you want something that's healthy, right? You want to make sure that it's healthy. And again, just like look up just lean muscle growth, look up other keywords like muscle recovery, because just reading just a little bit on that, it'll open your eyes to why eating after the workout is important. And especially if you're not eating before, if you're not eating before and you're not eating after, then it's like, what's happening in between? You went into the gym and you're sweating, you're tired, you burned a few calories, but if you're not putting good food on the front or on the back of that, then you're literally just kind of like, burning the candle at both ends, you know what I mean? And once it's done, it's done. So you really want to make sure that you're fueling your body, whether it's a pre-workout. There's great supplements for during your workout that you can be drinking to stay hydrated and stay energized. And there's also tons of whole foods and recipe options or post-recovery shakes that would work for after your workout too.
Well, the last question I have is, what kind of helpful tips do you have for our viewers, for our audience that are kind of like wrapping up the new year to hopefully like, wrap up, trying to, get that more healthy standpoint in their lives, and also what kind of helpful things you have for them to kind of bring into the new year?
Okay, so healthy tips for the new year. So I'll start with this healthy tips in general. I think it's very important, no matter what you drink, that water is your primary drink, no matter what. And just like a rule of thumb is whatever your body weight is, you can keep that to yourselves. Divide it by 2.
Right.
And that number is what you should be shooting for in ounces of water daily.
I'm curious now. Hold on.
So if you didn't know that, so whatever your weight is, divided by 2, and you should be consuming that amount of water in ounces daily, or as close to that amount as you possibly can.
A lot of ounces.
So my tip is water, water, water. I mean, the benefits of water are phenomenal for everything. And like for your inner nutrition, for your outer nutrition, your skin, your complexion. I mean, just so many things about consuming water consistently and adequately that will completely change your health. And then I would say the last tip, just like daily, like just regular tip, is just move. It doesn't matter what you do. Walk, brisk walk, jog, run, sprint, calisthenics, weightlifting, yoga, water aerobics, whatever it is. You just have to move. You have to move consistently. It's never okay to just have a day where I'm just like, okay, unless you're just dog tired, to just have a day or even a week where it's like, I'm not doing anything, right? Like that daily activity will literally change your life. It will save your life, because there will be a time where we wish that we could do all of the things that we can do now, right? So we can either do them now or just wish that we were doing them later. So really, motor skills are very important. And this is really, health and wellness is really just a game of sustainability. It's a game of longevity, so we want to make sure that we look good and feel good for as long as we can. So taking advantage of the time that we have now, the age that we are now, the energy that we have now to just get active and stay active.
I like that a lot.
Beautifully put.
Yeah. So again, I'm so happy to have Will join us in this conversation as we wrap up 2020. Hopefully disperse some good education to everyone that's listening and also viewing, to let them know that, hey, food is your fuel. So with that being said, join us every Monday.
Like,
comment,
subscribe,
and guess what's up.
Peace.